Hello friends, you are watching the Seated Scribe and I am Rudrashish Dotto. Today we will be reviewing a pen product from another Indian brand which has been operating out of Madras or modern day Chennai since 1920. A family owned business that is currently in the third generation. This pen company specializes in manufacturing handcrafted products made out of ebonite, acrylic and celluloid for the past 100 years. One of the unique aspects of this pen company is its attention to detail, its care for the individual customer, its tendency to connect with each individual buyer to understand their tastes better, and also to keep a follow up of how their products are performing from individual buyers. Today I will be unboxing and reviewing one of their flagship products, the Gama Commander, which is made out of blocks of ebonite. It is colored black, polished and has a nib width of 0.65 millimeter. So without any further delay, let us flip the camera and go to the pen. Now Gama pens come in this typically improvised cardboard packaging. There is a bubble wrap that wraps this nice looking velvet bag which contains the pen. So this is the pen. The cardboard box also contain a Gama pen's take care maintenance card. Let me keep it aside. So this is the pen. It is a pen with enormous size and girth. Sorry. So this is the pen. Well, the pen has a characteristic white rounded trademark Gama mark on the finial. There is a Gama inscribed here as well. The clip is slightly on the tougher side. It is placed securely in this section and there is a double band here. It is a chrome band and the other end of the finial is round without any special design. So let me open this pen. This pen is actually made out of a single rod of ebonite. So as an ebonite pen, it does have some characteristic take care steps which I will be telling you soon. So this cap, yes, it is shaped out of ebonite. There is a jacket. I am not sure whether it is a plastic or a metal jacket at this section inside. So this is the cap. Now with regard to the pen, as we can see, this is a pen with an enormous size and girth. The grip section begins with a flare at this end, there is a step down and a gradual step up to the threads, and then the barrel expands by a millimeter or two to this section which is the thickest, after which it slightly tapers down to a rounded finial at the barrel end. Now, this is an eyedropper pen. There is no provision for cartridges or converters. In other words, this entire section of the barrel is designed to be used as the ink container. Now, let me open this section up. So, it opens with 5, 6, 7, 8 full rotations. They have greased this section adequately. In fact, they do recommend using Vaseline or silicone grease in this thread section, so as to make this part both airtight and ink tight. And this section too is dabbed in Vaseline or silicone. Now, notice the thickness of the barrel. So, this entire section will hold an enormous amount of ink, but this pen, being a handmade ebonite pen, will have some steps to be taken before it can be primed for first use. And one of the steps which the manufacturers recommend is dipping this section in water for at least 4 to 6 hours and then leaving it to dry in room temperature for an equal amount of time before this feed is primed for first use. So, this is something which I will have to do before I can provide you with a writing sample, but before that I need to take care of two aspects of this pen. Now, one unique feature of this pen is the enormous amount of thickness of the grip section. As you can see, this section is enormously thick. In fact, this is the thickest section that I have come across in any pen made of ebonite. The nib is a typically two-toned Gama nib, and the feed is ebonite too. Now, Gama pens usually provide us with two nib widths. One is what they call a 0.65 meant for normal writing, and the other is a 1 millimeter thick nib which is meant for signatures. So, this is all about the pen, but let me take a weight and thickness comparison before I prime it and use it for a writing sample after 6 to 8 hours. Now, to weigh this pen, well, this pen weighs 35 grams without ink and with the cap, and the dry weight of the pen is 23 grams. Compared to the girth and the size, this is fairly light. So, all in all, this is a pen that is both thick and large and can be slightly uncomfortable for those who are habituated to having manageable grips, because the girth of the grip section is big too, as you can see. And once this section is filled with ink, the weight of the pen may slightly tilt in a clockwise direction away from the paper. We will see when we will provide a writing sample as to how this affects the overall comfort of use of this pen. So, let me prime it and we will come back, ink this pen up and then provide a writing sample. Now, before this pen can be used for the first time, it is usually recommended that this section has to be soaked in water overnight or for at least 4 hours and then left to dry in room temperature for a few hours, so that this section is dry, and before the first use the manufacturers recommend that this barrel too should be washed in running water, and before ink is filled for the first time and maybe every subsequent time, the threads may be dabbed with a speck of Vaseline so that it becomes fully airtight. So, this is how this pen has to be primed for first use. Now, since I will have to provide a writing sample in this review, I will be priming it by dipping this section in water for 4 hours and letting it dry for a couple of hours, and then we will come back to provide a writing sample after inking this pen. So, well, the pen has been primed for first use and I have inked this pen up with Pilot Blue. Now, let me use this pen on an ordinary writing paper to see how the experience goes. This is a very wet pen. This is a very wet pen. And I am sure the ink will bleed through the paper. Yes, this is very wet. The upstrokes are wet too, as are the slant strokes. With regard to variations in width, the nib is fairly stiff and it does not provide for any calligraphy like variations in thickness, but this is a very smooth writer. This is a very smooth writer, and all in all, it is a pen which provides the comfort, provided the paper is fountain pen friendly. Now, let me turn this paper to see how this has fared. Well, as you can see, it has, the letters have bled through the paper. So, I am not sure how this pen can actually be used in papers which are not fountain pen friendly. So, all in all, this is a pen which ticks most of the right boxes. It is an ebonite pen, handcrafted, and as such, like most ebonite pens which are shaped out of ebonite rods, the surface of the pen may have characteristic marks which are special to the pen and which gives each pen a special and a unique flavor. So, this is with regard to Gama Commander, and now let me give you an impression of the size of the pen when placed against other commonly used pens. So, this is the Gama Commander, this is the Pilot Metropolitan. So, we can clearly see how big the Gama commander is. This is the pilot high tech point. This is a typical ballpoint pen. This is the Mont Blanc 146. And this is the Kanwrite Emperor, Kanwrite Emperor. So, clearly among these pens, the Gama Commander stands out as both the girthiest and the longest. Provided a person is comfortable with its girth and its weight, this pen can be very comfortable to write with, and this is actually designed as a fill and forget pen. It holds an enormous amount of ink, and re-inking will require writing on maybe 80 or 85 pages of A4 sheets. So, all in all, this is a pen which many people love. Some people are uncomfortable with it and therefore they hate. But one unique aspect of this pen is that it still carries with it the trademark precision and commitment of a handcrafted fountain pen that this company has been manufacturing for well over 100 years. So, that is all that I have time for this week. We will be back with another pen and another review next week. Till then, goodbye and stay safe.